Hello, my name is Jane Fong. I'm a real estate broker who specializes in residential investment and commercial properties. Today, I want to talk to you about the pros and cons of owning investment properties within a corporation. A disclaimer first. All the information that I'm talking about is based on my personal opinion and experiences. It's not legal advice or accounting advice. If you want proper legal and accounting advice, please consult with your lawyers and accountants. Before we start, I want to tell you about a real story. So I have a client who is a tenant and she is renting a place. When we first got there, the first thing we do is we test out all the appliances to make sure that they work. So we turn on the hood, and this is what the hood is like. As you can hear, the hood is making some really weird noise. I was saying that it sounds like it's almost, gonna break apart. So we told the landlord about it to, let them know that something is really wrong with the hood and some other issues with the house as well. And the landlord is saying that, okay, they will come visit a few days later. Come Saturday, they canceled. And then they said they will come a few more days later, and they didn't came. And in about, a few days, what happened was the fan actually flew out of the hood, flying while it was in use. Okay. The fan flew out, turning, flying towards my client. Good that she dodged it fast. Or else, can you imagine the injuries that it could cause? If it hits their eyes, right? She has a kid. If it hit the kid, just imagine the liability that it's going to, bring to the landlord because they failed to come, even it was reported. So this brings us to the point of, why we want to own real estate in a corporation, the advantages of it. One of the biggest advantages, probably upon the most all, are liabilities. Freak accidents do occur, just like this one. Who would know that a fan can fly out from a hood? I have never heard of it in my whole life, but it actually did. And freak accident happen. If you have proper property insurance, it could, help you in some way. However, nowadays, property insurance has a lot of clauses which can negate the insurance, and anything minor could potentially not, giving the insurance for you or protecting you. So you must get proper insurance. And that could help a bit. However, another level of protection would be using a corporation, which can also further shield you from liability. Another benefit of using a corporation to own real estate could be tax benefits. If you have really high personal tax bracket, you might not want to add the income rent in additional to your personal income because rents are considered income and bring up your tax bracket to a next level. So you may want to consider that. And corporate tax rate general is lower. However, rental income is taxed differently than a corporate tax rate. So you might want to speak with your accountant about, how is rental income being taxed. And lastly, another advantage of owning real estate in a corporation could be succession planning. It could be beneficial for your estate planning because family members could become shareholder. So it doesn't burden you for transferring the asset to a family member one by one. You could, have the company being transferred. You could add your family members as shareholder beforehand. So this could be beneficial for using real estate, for using a corporation to own real estate. However, there are some disadvantages and drawbacks as well. When you create a corporation, there is actually fees to create them. If you go to a lawyer or a accountant to create a corporation, typically they charge you in the thousands of dollars to create one because they actually provide you with a minute book that has, a lot of great document in there. They will provide you with a, could be shareholder agreement or whatever other agreements that you need. However, after a little while, I realized that I actually don't need an accountant or a lawyer to help me create a corporation. I actually could also do it on my own. So I will create another video to talk about how to do it on your own. And once you create a corporation, you have to pay tax on it, meaning that you probably need to hire an accountant to do your corporate tax every year. Surprisingly, for a lot of us who has not been doing corporate taxes, you may not know that corporate tax for accounting, the accounting for corporate tax is actually more expensive than the personal tax. If you have been hiring an accountant to do your personal tax, it might only be a couple $100 a year. However, if you hire an accountant to do your corporate tax, it could go up to a couple $1,000s a year. Okay, so you remember the fee that you have to pay every year if you're going to have a corporation. Does it worth the price? The next thing is if you have a corporation, you do have to do yearly maintenance. I actually learned this really late. I actually didn't know that I have to do corporate hygiene. So these are all the stuff that you need to do every now and then. Um, we have to, care for the HST program. We have to do initial filing. We have to do annual filing. You have to update corporate information. You have to make sure that you have your, business key, company key, etc. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of stuff that you need to do. Once you learn how to do it, you can do it yourself. But at the beginning, I actually didn't know that I have to do all these stuff. So I'm like a couple of years behind, but now I'm all catch up. Lastly, if your real estate is in a corporation, once you sell it, or even all the rental income, they stay within the corporation. So the question becomes is how do you, actually get the money out from the corporation? Because, for example, if you purchase a house for $500,000, 20 years later, it was sold for a million. You made a profit of, say, 300K after tax. Then the 300K actually is within the corporation. So if you have to take it out, you might have to, talk to your accountant to see what is the best way to have the money be paid to you. Okay, so that would be another consideration to think about. So at the end, should you create a corporation to own real estate? In my personal opinion, I think it depends. It really depends if you're owning how many properties, the size of the properties, the type of the properties. Do you have a lot of personal asset which you want to shield against from your rental properties? How high is your personal income and more? However, I think from my personal opinion, a general rule of thumb that I like to follow is if I own small rental properties like a small condo, like small townhouse, I might group them into a single corporation. Like I know that probably I'm not going to have a lot of liability issues from those simple property, right? I call them simple because there's not a lot of things that could really go wrong. And for the more larger properties, like, multiplex, the more complicated type, I might have a corporation just to own it on its own because of liability issue, because of, just a good clean separation. So that I kind of reduce the number of properties that I have to maintain, but yet have some separation on the more complicated properties versus the simple one. So that is my way of handling it. If you have a different opinion, I welcome you to leave a few messages on the channel. My name is Jane Feng. If you have any interest to buy and sell property or purchase investment or commercial property, please contact me. This is my contact information. My website is www.janefeng.ca. My phone number is 647-872-0238. And here is my email. And if you like what you hear, I actually have a real estate treasure map, which I refresh frequently. What you'll find are hidden treasures of real estate. I actually have a team to look out for great investment property, great infill property, properties that are distressed or motivated seller, and put them into what I call a treasure map. Okay, this is like a map that guides you to the hidden treasures in real estate. If you want to sign up, go to my website, www.janefeng.ca/contact us, and sign up for the treasure map. And thank you very much. Have a good day.